Welcome to CTV. This is Be in the Business. I am Jamie Thurston Wyngaard, and today we're talking entrepreneurship. We're finding out about what it is to be an entrepreneur, what it's like to go through challenges, and how do we solve the challenges? Because I know that you either sitting at home wanting to start your own business, have ideas, know someone that has ideas, or you're currently running your own business. So we're here today with an amazing guest. This is Kris Simpson, and she's been through an entire journey of, I would say, a lot. She's done it all. From what I've seen, what I know, she's done it all, and she's been doing an amazing job. But the biggest thing I want to talk about today with Kris is about when you're an entrepreneur, nobody knows this, but you don't get sick leave. So, Kris, I first want to start off by introducing you. So, who is the fabulous Kris Simpson?
Well, it's Kris Simpson. It's Thurston Simpson, originally from Mitchell's Plain, born and bred. Went to Mondale High, went to Carradale Primary. Very proud of where I come from and never going to deny that.
Nice.
Yeah. Been through this life and being grateful for it. Some of the milestones in my life was having a kid very young in my life, which was absolutely amazing.
Oh, nice.
Because when I was in Hong Kong at 35, 34, I had my friends back home with their little pup neckies. So I was living my best Sex and the City life in Hong Kong. And at the time when I had my kid at the age of 19, 20, it was the end of the world. And
Sure.
it wasn't. It was just the beginning.
No, but that just shows how strong of a woman you are. And I guess it's a case of people think, oh, I'm pregnant now, I'm getting a baby, I can't do much, I must depend on someone else.
Yes.
But in your case, I see how you've raised from that. And I think having a child is such an achievement. And that just adds to your portfolio as this amazing entrepreneurial woman with a child that's been working, that's been running a business, and now you also have a new venture you're going into that you're busy doing.
That's right.
Want to tell us about that?
For sure. Just to go back to where I come from and to tie it up to what we're discussing right now, I've been a lucky recipient of a renal transplant, kidney transplant in essence, post 7 years now.
I'm saying nice, I mean like, it's nice that you got the new kidney, but hectic that you had to get the kidney transplant.
And it's not just where you say, okay, I'm sick today, I'm going to get a kidney tomorrow, I'm going to Pick and Pay and just go pick it off the shelf. No. I had to be on dialysis, 2 different types of dialysis. So that was a 3-year process of my life.
Sure, was that before or after your child? How was
After, yes.
So your body had to go through, from what I hear, people say it's, my body changes and everything. So your body went through giving birth, and now you also had to go through getting the kidney transplant.
Yes, so I had my daughter when I was at 19, 20. When I was 26, 25, I went on dialysis for 3 years.
That's hectic.
It was hectic. It was a huge shock. I didn't know what hit me. I felt like life just slapped me like, bah, bah, bah. That's where I was at. And that's the best way to explain it. It taught me patience. It taught me to give a DAME, to give a care about other people.
I had to spell that
I
now.
realized
But
that.
dyslexia was like, what word is that? Okay, we're keeping it PG for the audience.
I found myself in a space where I realized I needed to pay it forward. It was my 3rd year of dialysis, and I realized, I'm here. What am I going to do about this now? I sat back and I made myself available to the universe, and I said, use me. 6 months before I got my kidney transplant, I was volunteering as a model, and I modeled for Grazia.
Oh, and it shows.
That was,
Yes.
stop it, I like it. And that was a good opportunity for me to use. So what we did in the campaign was to actually model off certain clothing and have pop-up shops. The first one was in Claremont, and we had designers, local designers, donate their special clothing. And once you say, I'm going to be an organ donor for cataracts or, or cochlea or your heart or even all your organs, you would then be given a gift. Because in South Africa, being an organ donor, it's a gift. So there's too much, they will exploit our people way too much, and it was in that time. The system's completely changed in South Africa, and 6 months later, once I started genuinely caring, genuinely saying, listen, be happy for that person.
Yeah.
And I could feel, I got goosebumps, and I would cry because I'm so happy, not even upset. I was just so grateful that this person, there's an opportunity, there's light at the end of the tunnel. The day of my transplant, I made a choice, and I said, I need to pay it forward. Someone is laying there whose child or father or cousin or best friend is laying there and they're gone.
Yeah, there might even be people that need or want to
Exactly.
donate organs that's watching right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people of color, unfortunately, are not organ donors. And that's problematic because we are the most in this country.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense, does it? But this is the reality, and that's something else that I am working on all the time,
Sure.
working with the Organ Donor
We must have
Foundation.
a whole show about that as well,
Yeah.
about organ donating. Yeah.
So coming back to your questions, what I'm currently doing, when I was laying before my operation and to get my kidney transplant, that I need to pay it forward. I need to add value. Came into play with what I'm working on right now. And what I'm currently working on is a employment empowerment app. It's
I
for the
like that.
textile industry.
Nice,
It
nice.
needs to be empowering because our people needs to work. I live in Cape Town, born and bred, grew up in the factory life, know what it is to sit and bead with my aunts, understanding how factories work, and the reality, I've got several aunties who are living on short time or just don't have work during COVID right now.
Yeah.
They're getting the short end of the stick, and we've got the skilled workers and we've got designers, amazing designers in our country, but they can't produce. How do we link them?
That's brilliant. What I like about this is how you're looking at the problem that you've identified. And I think that's a big thing in entrepreneurship is being able to know and see and spot the problem. And now look at how do I turn this problem into an opportunity.
There we go.
And that's what you've done as an entrepreneur.
There we go.
You've gone through all the struggles and journey yourself, but you've been able to look at full circle now. I grew up knitting and stitching and doing all this, and I still see even today, 34 years later, looks like 20, that there's still this problem within the community. You have this link of designers because you said you've been a model yourself. So you've worked with designers, and you see that they need people to make the clothes, and you also know there's people that want to make the clothes,
Of course.
but there's no link.
There's no link.
That is brilliant, Kris.
Yes.
With this whole concept now, how far are you in this business, and like where's this going for you?
Well, with the help of We Are the Agency, absolutely great company to work with. Thank you so much,
Oh, thanks
Jamie.
for name dropping.
Yes, so we are at the first phase, so it's very important. And coming from business, I've been in entrepreneurship for 2.5 years.
That's a
So
long
I've
time.
I've used to work in the wine industry, building up a wine brand, and it took me around the world, which was a great experience. Never take it back.
I'm sure there's so many people actually want to get involved with you and your project right now. I think we need to get onto Kris's social media handles. You'll see it on the screen. So you can start connecting with Kris because she's got such an amazing story and she's definitely creating so much opportunity. So if you want to hear more about Kris, jump on the socials and engage with her from there. We're going to go into a quick ad break and then we can discuss more about the challenges you faced as an organ donor and specifically around not getting sick leave when you're an entrepreneur. Thanks, guys. This is Being the Business. Welcome back to Being the Business on Open Studio. I am Jamie Thurston Wyngaard. We have been discussing with this. Oh, it's been actually so intense and so insightful of having a conversation with Kris, and she's been telling us about her challenges and where she's come from. And I think that the heritage is quite a big important role for her, but mostly about how she's been helping people connect, especially with the new business about joining designers with textile workers. I want to touch on a bit about this, but also go into more on the challenges you faced as an entrepreneur, especially someone that has to have gone through a kidney transplant. You're now on chronic medication, I believe. And how does that set you apart from, I would say, your peers or other entrepreneurs? I think a big thing people don't realize when you are an entrepreneur, when you are running a business, if you are the sole proprietor, the main canine, the CEO of this business, if you don't work, you don't get paid. That's another day in a delay in your project. That's another it's a setback for every day you take off. Because people say, oh, entrepreneurs are taking off and taking off and taking off. No, that's when we have the chance to take off. Because we've been working 24/7 all night until the morning. And I know, Kris, you can relate. I know your work ethic and I know that this is the kind of things that you do. But coming from a point of view where you actually need to be on medication, I would say this is a bit of you being on a crutch, as opposed to other people that are completely healthy and completely functional. I'm not looking down on you anymore. What I'm actually saying is you are doing a harder job. You already have a hard job. You are doing a harder job than other people whose kidneys are doing the most. So how does that make you feel, and being in that environment where you know you can't just take off?
Well, firstly, sickness is a mindset. That is
Okay.
one thing that everybody must understand. From somebody who is sitting in ICU, because I've been there. I'm not supposed to be here today, my friend. I have been there several times.
Hectic.
And sickness is firstly, it's all here. My number one is my daughter, the reason I wake up. Find your motivation. Firstly, find your purpose. Understand it, accept it, break it down if you need to, and build it yourself up step by step. Secondly, there's the soft life. We talk about soft life as entrepreneurs. So soft life is, I can go to the beach now, and I can go and work on the beach, for example, right? Because I'm focused. But, or I can go and chill with Jamie at Grand Beach. Fantastic, love a free meal. Excellent. But tonight, I've got to make sure that I give a boss that I would have worked for 8 hours. I need to give myself 8 hours too. So if it means that I split my 4 hours.
That is such a nice way to put that, Kris. I'm sorry to cut you there, but just thinking that just like you would have given that boss 8 hours a day, you are the boss and you need to give yourself that 8 hours a day. That is brilliant.
So that's a minimum I give myself. So if I know I've got responsibilities, because even though I have a kidney transplant, I have a kid, I have a life, I am human, also trying to stay safe from COVID, all these kind of things, because I am high risk at this time. I take medication twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, a 12-hour span. I would take a carrier bag of medication.
A
than
carrier
going
bag.
on dialysis. I don't take a carrier bag of medication though. But I'm saying that if that was the case, it was a high dose when I started initially. And it came down over the years because I've just been adapting correctly. I understand my body, I understand where I come from, and I understand how bad it can get. Where I was not even as bad off as the people that were around me.
Yeah.
So Jamie, when I was sitting on dialysis, for 3 to 4 hours, you go and you sit on this big machine and it
Hold up.
Yes.
3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours, 3 times a week.
That is, my math is now fleeting, but a lot of hours. Because for someone that is healthy, that is time you could have been working.
Yep.
For an entrepreneur, that is time you could have been making money.
Yes.
If you just work out how much you can get per hour,
Yes.
girl,
Yeah.
that's quite a cut out of the budget.
And it takes from your body. So you need to get your body aligned again to refocus. But on that, I also counted my blessings also. So whenever people tend to look at things and say, oh, the world is coming to an end. How could this happen to me? Who else? Who else should it be happening to? If it's not going to happen to you, would you want it to be your mom, your neighbor, your cousin? So take responsibility, understand, and also find the blessing in it. One of the things that stood out for me when I was in that space, because it's a human thing, man, but when I was in that space, Jamie, I used to lay and I would speak to somebody next to me and you'd fall asleep because this machine is making you tired. And 10 minutes later, you just hear, clear, clear,
Oh, hectic.
like a movie. And
And
this
the
was
person
once
next to
a
you
month,
just
3 times
dies.
a month. Yep.
That should put such strain on you emotionally. I think I don't even have words for this because there's so much you're going to be going through of you knowing you in this state. You got so much to live for. I'm glad you turned this around to see all your blessings, but to be sitting next to people going through the same thing as you and waking up to the sounds of them trying to be revived because they've just passed away.
It makes you
Gosh.
see life in a very different view. And people don't understand why I am how I am. I'd come into a room and I'd greet you with joy because you know what, this could be my last moment seeing you. This life is real. So a lot of people get annoyed sometimes because I'm too positive. But when you realize how much negativity there is, it just says, you know what, you don't know. So let me pay it forward in my energy. So this is why I'm so much.
No.
I'm not too much, I'm just over enough.
Dish us that energy, girl. Serve that energy because I don't think you can ever get too much positivity. I think that brings a new light into a situation. And I wanted to look at with you the way you used to work with other people. And because you've worked for bosses before, you've worked for managers before, you've also been in a partnership recently with the wines where you've been in that top level position when it comes to business. So you've got it, you've know it, you've been running these things. And I wanted to look at how you as a self being through all of this brings all that energy in to new spaces. Now you're currently working on your own, in your own business. Yes, you got your partners and your team working with you, but they more like outsourced to
Yes.
you. You're still the boss, you're the main girl here, but you've outsourced all the resources. And I think that's also a smart move of entrepreneurship, is knowing you can't do all of these things by yourself. And you've been putting that team together very nicely. And even in this sense, with you being the entrepreneur and the boss lady, you've been able to partition to know when you're feeling more productive and how you can work these things. Because I know I've done things with you before, Kris, and you'll send me a message early in the morning. The birds didn't even wake up yet, but I got a message from Kris. And with that said, I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that, and I think they need to also adopt that positive energy. And even the case of you with your dialysis, and I think to the viewers out there, if there are people that have been through these experiences, I want to hear these stories. And going into business, I think this is things that you can start relating and sharing. So jump onto social media with us, make the conversation, and maybe Kris can even give you some more tips. So after the break, we can find out what the big learnings is. Thank you. Welcome back to Be in the Business on Open Studio. I am Thurston Wyngaard. We've been having an amazing discussion with Kris, who's been telling us about her journey from the entrepreneurship side, but also a journey and struggles as I can't say struggles, she calls it blessings, as a organ recipient, and how she had to go through all the dialysis. What I want to touch on now, Kris, is the things you've learned over your entrepreneurship journey, and then more about the advice you could give to more entrepreneurs from that. I want to look at your positive energy and your whole situation of working with partners, working with teams. Can you just unpack a bit of what you've learned of working with other people?
Patience. Everybody comes from a very different home, a very different thinking, and sometimes we think that everything, what we know, that's the lens. But the one thing that I did learn in 2020 is the sky is not really blue. The sky is made up of many colors, the same as we are. We are made of many moods, especially females. Females are made of many, many factors.
We know that.
And it's our world, it's our time as women, and we should embrace it. Don't hide your femininity, but be respectful about it, and take ownership of it.
Okay, that is interesting of you coming from a woman's perspective into what's been seen as a man's world. There's so much more women being empowered right now, and I really think it's a case of grasping it and taking it. I feel a lot of people can take inspiration from you, Kris, because there's women, and I'm not just saying there's women, there's anybody. There's guys that are sitting at home doing nothing. There's women sitting at home doing nothing. There's grown-ups, there's adults, there's kids, and there's so much you can do. And I think looking at you is just turn your perspective around. Count your blessings, and I think that's a big takeout that I want from this. And especially in entrepreneurship, because you can go through so many hardships. There's so many ups and downs in running the business. There's the depression that you eat, there's the bankruptcy that you eat, there's the things that must get paid, there's the staff that you need. Kris, you're agreeing with me with your eyes. Yes. Do you want to share some of your stories around these things? And mostly the thing is, how did you get over that?
Yeah.
When you came into a hurdle, how did you solve that situation?
Firstly, impossible is nothing. Impossible is nothing, guys.
Yes, Mandela.
Found a Mandela. I found myself in Asia twice.
Nice.
I'm broke. Every penny that we made in our business and I'm making in my business goes back into paying for documents, processing documents. I'm super resourceful, but there's things you must pay for. Then you need to eat also, hey? So how am I going to get to Hong Kong? How am I going to get to South Korea?
Yeah.
Through impossible is
business
nothing.
trips?
Business trips. Always business trips, because I can't be going on holiday.
No, I like this. It's business trips, but you're getting that holiday. You're getting that travel.
I make it a holiday because there's a weekend, But right now, I understand my vision is clear. Hold the vision, trust the process. Constantly my mantra. Understand that if every good time that I have, there must be a work time content to it. And if I can't find that balance, it's overs. Because then I'm just pushing for the good time, looking fly on the gram and things, and then...
Which you do.
But
Yeah.
You know, when I do post, it's because I've worked hard and
Yes.
I can. You know, I'm not an. I've got respect for influencers because I understand their journeys they go through. However, there's too much fakeness happening.
That's what I really see about entrepreneurship as well. And I think that's why we need something like this. And like you have shared in your story, because often people see the entrepreneurs flexing and living their best life and look at the gram and look at the post. And yes, we can congratulate them. And I think we all due congratulations is due, and we should give that applause and we should encourage their journey.
Yes.
But there's also the flip side around that of all the hardships that actually happen behind the scenes.
Yes.
And seems like you've been through it. You've been doing your trips. People see the, Hong Kong.
Who's in Hong Kong?
Asia. But they don't see the bank account balance and they think
Hey.
you're living the best life. But they don't see what's really going on in your pocket.
Yes.
And not that it's a bad thing to represent your brand in the most glorious way. That's not bad at all, because that also presents to your brand image, and that's not brand perception. And people are drawn to success.
Yes.
So the more successful you look, the
Yes.
more success comes towards you. That's like a rule of the universe.
Yes.
And that's the big tip when it comes to entrepreneurship, because even though you're trying to draw all the success towards you by looking successful, because you're not speaking about your issues, how do people know that someone can help you? How
Yes.
do people know that you can go and get help? And that's where people start harboring their own issues, keeping it to themselves, and that's when you start getting depression.
Yes.
That's when you start feeling self-doubt, because I look at Kris's Instagram and I think, look how amazing she's doing. What is wrong with me?
Yes.
I've been doing this 10 years longer than Kris. But she's in Hong Kong eating cats. Making jokes here. Don't bring us COVID. Sorry. Jokes. But not that happens. But this is what goes on in people's minds. And even in my mind, where I think of these things and I think, what's wrong with me?
Yes.
And as an entrepreneur, it's not the case, and what I've learned from you, of not looking at what's wrong with you, but what can I be thankful for?
There we go.
That's what I see about your journey, of how we can look at this full circle of what have I done, what have I achieved, and like you've said, even with looking at your daughter, what do I have to live towards? And I definitely see that. So Kris, I want to actually come back to this and say, if you could give advice to your younger self, what would you tell them?
Firstly, impossible is nothing. Discipline creates freedom. So that is a big part for me, because I'm no longer with a business partner. So I need to be more disciplined. And go for it. Just go. If you can do it and you believe in yourself, do it. And moenie worry wat anders sê nie. May I speak Afrikaans? Dit
You
is
may
CTV,
speak.
hè?
You may
It's
speak
CTV.
that mother tongue.
Good. Moenie worry wat jou neighbors gaan sê nie, want hulle voer nie vir jou nie. Hulle sê 'n dag oor jou koppie. That's what my great-granddad told me. Waarvoor sit jy jou uit met hulle? Sit hulle kos in jou maag in. Dit is
Yes.
your school fees. And that is something I constantly come back to. And sometimes I do feel inferior, because I'm sitting with senior guys here. We're talking about consulate generals and guys who are in charge of the Rothschilds, you know, and I'm talking about fourth industrial revolution and fifth industrial revolution, and all they're hearing is I'm taking money out of their pocket. But what I'm hearing is adding value to my country. So I do sit and then immediately in that moment I say, wait a minute, where were they last week? When I needed to get to that meeting and I didn't have, where were they last week when I needed to help my friend out? You understand? And that is the real things you need to bring it back very quickly. In your mind, go, fake it till you make it. You're from Cape Town, deal.
No, you got the girl. I think
Yeah.
that's some sound advice. And I definitely feel like this is a conversation we can take online, because you've got so much information and so much to share.
Yes.
I'm sure there's people out there that want to connect with you further, and they can connect with you on social media.
Yes.
They can even then connect with you and your new business venture. If there's people that want to
Yes.
start funding this venture, definitely start
Please,
funding
let's
this
get our people
venture. Yes, no,
working.
definitely. But this is being the business, and this is about Kris being her business, and about you being your business. So let's all get the businesses going, and you can join us next week for some more Be in the Business. Thank you.